Ladies and gentlemen, it is not Funko News, not necessarily. There will be an official Funko News video at the end of the week, and I am going to wait to the end of the week. So I'm talking about Saturday afternoon or maybe Saturday evening. Hopefully it won't take forever to upload and end up on Sunday morning. But it'll be at the end of the week. That's because I want to give enough time to make sure that I get all the announcements in, as many announcements in as possible. And it's kind of tough to hold back because I did hear an amazing one today, and I know that people that are really in the know are all abuzz about it. But I'm going to wait and be patient on that and share as much news as I can at the end of the week. But I did want to go ahead and jump on the first wave of the ECCC Funko Exclusives, and that's the Emerald City Comic Con, which you see there is held in the Washington State Convention Center. So this is a big event for Funko because that's kind of like their home turf. That's where they reside. So that's why they had these different figures for this particular event. And because it is Emerald City, they do put a big focus on the color green, which to me, it kind of makes these figures feel a little too gimmicky, almost kind of really niche. And but I mean, there's still some cool figures. They had some right ones last year. It looks like they're doing better this year, and looks like they're definitely having more figures this year. Like I said, this is just wave one that they've revealed, and they're going to reveal more. I think at the time of this recording, I think it's actually going to be tomorrow. So I'm recording Wednesday. I think they are going to have more reviews Thursday, unless that's going to be Thursday next week, but I think it is this week. So yeah, basically I will put this all together in the official Funko News at the end of the week, but I just had to go ahead and address this particular wave for a particular reason, which I will get to. Okay, now, before I get into the actual figures, I kind of got to give a warning to collectors that aren't in the know. When these Comic-Cons come up, Nerd Block has partnered with ReedPop to bring you these Comic-Con boxes, which are garbage. Okay, that's just being blunt about it. I've seen... I purchased one of these boxes myself early on when I first started collecting, and I just ended up giving away almost everything in that box, including the pop figure, which was a common that had been out for over a month. That really kind of irked me. There was nothing exclusive in that box, I think, except for, I want to say, a comic book, and then it was two variants of the comic book, and I think there was an autograph in there as well, and some of it was Star Wars related, so it was nice that I was able to pass along gifts to Toli, because Toli the Towel Man, very cool person, great friend and fellow YouTuber. So it was nice that I was able to share some things with him, but there was really nothing in that box for me. So I was so disappointed. And the ones that they've done since then, just not interesting. I mean, at best, you might get one or two great items out of that box. Not even great. I'll say good, decent. That's about the best you can do with those boxes. So I'm not telling you how to spend your money. I'm just putting it out there for you. If you're not in the know, be a little cautious about these boxes because they really don't focus on what's there at the con. You're not going to find an exclusive pop figure in one of these boxes. I mean, I'd be amazed if it ever happens. I mean, who knows? But to me, it's not a true representation of what you can get at that Comic-Con. Let's get into the actual figures here. So the mascot for the ECCC is this character here. And last year they had a Dwarves 2-pack because there's a female figure as well, or a female character. So they had a Dwarves 2-pack of them, I believe, last year. So this year they had the Emerald City Crusader glow-in-the-dark version. I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, especially for people that live in Washington State and that people that actually get to go to the event. I mean, this probably has a lot of meaning to them. General interest for the general public, or general collectors, I really don't know how much interest there is, but I'll say all in all, I think it's a pretty cool figure. Now, this is the one item out of this first wave that I would absolutely love to have. Green Arrow and Black Canary Dwarves 2-pack. I think this is awesome, and I've really been wanting a Green Arrow that's the very old school design of him with the Robin Hood style hat and the the goatee, the blonde goatee and everything. I think that's awesome, and put him along with Black Canary is very cool. I think they are one of the coolest couples in comics, not just in DC Comics, but comics in general. Very cool couple. that definitely can kick a lot of in, you know. But my only one little gripe, and well, I'll just say little nitpick, is you notice that the packaging there very much a Green Arrow focus, has his logo and everything, and of course she tends to be a supporting character, but I think she's become such a prominent character in her own right, you know, especially recently. I mean, she has a TV presence on the Arrow, you know, series, and then also with her being just revealed for Injustice 2, the video game, which I'm really looking forward to. I just kind of wish the packaging actually had her logo up there too, and it was a little more balanced out, but that's kind of a nitpick, you know. Regardless, that's an awesome 2-pack, and I really hope there is a way that I can get my hands on it. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. Last year, I think with the ECCC pops, I don't really only know of some people getting the Green Goblin one, which I think was made available on a website at some point. But other than that, you either had to be there or you had to deal with flipper prices, and that was about it. So hopefully things will be different this year. Hopefully some of these will be in stores or online somewhere where hopefully collectors can get their hands on them. You know, collectors that can't make it to the actual Comic-Con. Next up here, Superhero Kermit. I'm not really a big Muppets fan anymore. I loved the Muppets as a kid, especially the Muppet Babies. I used to watch that show like every time it played. I think it used to play Saturday mornings and even weekday mornings, and I absolutely loved it. But you know, when I got older, I just very much lost interest in the Muppets. But this Superhero Kermit, I think it looks cool. I think it would be really cool though if they could do Kermit as Green Lantern. That would be awesome. But you know, I don't know if that's even possible for them to do. But I do like you know, I think this is cool. Like, if you're really into the Muppets, you know, why not go for the Superhero Kermit if you can get your hands on it. You know, it's definitely not as cool as the Green Lantern mashup, but let me just move on. Megazord Hikari. I just revealed one in a recent Funko News that there is this color version of the Megazord Hikari, which is limited to just 1,500 pieces, and very cool looking Hikari. I think it's going to be going in no time, and then yeah, there may be some people trying to resell it. But this green one that they're going to have at the Emerald City Comic-Con, I'm not too crazy about the look of it. I mean, it's cool that it's glow in the dark, but just that green color with sort of some white shading, it doesn't really grab my attention, you know. So I think the color one actually looks a lot more interesting. The glow in the dark one, I don't even know how many of those will be available. There really aren't like numbers on these figures, except I want to say Kermit, who I just passed by. You know, I think Kermit is limited to 3,000 pieces. At one time I saw 2,000, then it said 3,000, so I think it is 3,000. But I'm not, you know, not 100% sure, but that's what I'm going to go with for now. That's what I'm going to tell you all for now. So again, I'm sure we'll get some more information pretty soon, because that event is coming up very soon. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get some more information about whether or not we will be able to, you know, the general public and general collectors will be able to get our hands on any of these figures. The Great Gazoo from the Flintstones. This is a character I completely forgotten about until I actually saw this ride revealed. And I actually had seen him in the cartoons, but yeah, I just hadn't thought about him in forever until I actually saw this ride. The ride itself, I think, looks pretty cool. It does have that sort of glittery effect going on, like they did with the Yummy Mummy Dorbs ride. So, I mean, that's cool, but I don't know. This might be for like those hardcore Flintstones fans, or you know, just people in general that like just cool-looking figures. And the Dorbs rides, you know, I've been given these props that I like them because of their size. You know, they're very easy to display. Even if you keep them in box, still it doesn't take up a ton of room like a pop ride. So I think it would be smart for Funko to keep on coming out with these Dorbs rides. And hey, why not a Fred Flintstone Dorbs ride? To me, that's like a no-brainer. So yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't come along very soon, especially considering what was up on the Funko Shop today, which I'm not going to talk about now. You can go check that out if you want to on the Funko Shop, you know, their website. And I will talk about that once I do my official Funko News at the end of the week. Peppermint Patty. And the Peanuts, I don't know if I've ever was a big fan. I like some aspects of Charlie Brown and the Peanuts, but I don't know if I was ever a big fan. I actually sometimes found their specials and their cartoons to be a little on the boring side, but that, man, maybe that's just me. And then also some of their some of their episodes could be like depressing, especially Charlie Brown Christmas. And I talked about this on my other channel, my smaller channel, where I mainly do like vlogging and stuff. It was just very, very down, very down cartoon. But let me get away from that. Okay, Peppermint Patty, I think the design is so on point. I mean, if you know the character and you just glance at that pop figure, you know that's her. They really did nail the design. And of course, they like her, of course, because of the green. That's the running theme here. And I feel like if you want the Peanuts, if you really wanted that full set, you have it by now, because they kept on marking those figures. They just kept marking them down until they were almost giving them away. So they finally have sold out in my area, at least. I don't really see them on shelves anymore, and I'm pretty sure that is because they made them dirt cheap. They really got down to where they were selling them for like $3 each or something. So yeah, if you're a completionist, again, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for all you collectors out there. If you're a completionist, when you have the full Peanut set and you really want Peppermint Patty, I sincerely do hope that you are able to get your hands on her. Now, the Creeper, if you're a Scooby-Doo fan, again, this is one of those things where I loved it as a kid. It does nothing for me now, Scooby-Doo. But the Creeper, I think, is one of the best designed figures out of this first wave. Amazing. When I first saw this image, I was like, this is the one that really made me say, whoa. I mean, the Green Arrow and Black Canary 2-pack, I mean that really did catch my eye as well. But this Creeper, I was just like, wow, that is a very cool design, and it was so smart of them to give him a mouth, and I like the way they designed that. And something else they did here that's really smart with the figure, if you look at the box art, he has white eyes, but then you look at the actual figure, he has yellow eyes, and the yellow eyes looks so much better. So that was a smart move on their part. So yeah, if you're into the Scooby-Doo line and you already have some of the figures, yeah, go for this one if you can. I think it's very cool, and again, hoping that it will be made available at some point. Now, Rick and Morty, I don't know this series well. I've tried to get into it. I just feel like I can't multitask and watch that series because it's so frenetic. There's so much going on, so I'm just gonna have to find some time when I got nothing else going on and sit down and really pay attention to that series. So the Buff Rick and Buff Summer, I really had no idea what that reference was about, so I went to YouTube and I checked out some clips, and it really did make me laugh, especially them once they were buffed up and everything. They were beating down some hateful people, like that guy wearing the swastika on his shirt, and then this guy, I'm not even going to say what his sign says, I mean, you can see for yourself, but this just very hateful person, which it's always, and I'm not going to get deep into this because I'm not going to really get deep into religion on this channel, but yeah, it always amazes me how some people that are so religious can be the most hateful people you could ever meet. Absolutely amazing to me. But anyway, after seeing those clips, like, yeah, at least that episode, I gotta go find that episode and check out the full episode, because that just really, it made me laugh. And I do like the designs of those characters as well. So if you're a big fan of the show, again, I think that's something that you probably would gravitate towards. And again, hoping that it'll appear somewhere where general collectors can find it. Now, this last figure, and I basically waited to share this figure last on purpose. I didn't worry about the order that they went when Funko revealed these figures on their Periscope. Wasn't really worried about that. I saved this figure just because Michigan J Frog. Now, I know that there are some people that are just, genuinely excited to see this character. They like his design. They like his silly singing and all this and that or whatever. And that's cool. No judgment at all from me. That is absolutely cool if you genuinely like this character. But I gotta tell you, I'm giving you fair warning right now. There's a rant incoming, and if you don't like rants, you can go ahead and exit now. And I hope you enjoyed what I shared up to this point. If you're very sensitive about issues of ethnicity or race, as people tend to say, if you're very sensitive about that, again, you might want to go ahead and exit stage left. And again, no hurt feelings if you don't watch the rest of this. But I have got to address my feelings about this pop figure and about this character. I can't just, it's just something on my mind, so I'm going to share it. and it's going to take me into an area where I normally wouldn't go on this channel. Now on my smaller channel, all bets are off. I talk about whatever I want to, and that's part of the reason why I like having that very small channel. I mean, this channel is small in the grand scheme of things, but my other channel, I mean, you know, I really say whatever I want to there. So that's why I'm giving fair warning here that I am going down that road of talking about ethnicity, talking about race. Okay, so again, if you're sensitive about that, you know, go ahead and exit out. No hard feelings. For those of you that want to hear my thoughts, you know, I appreciate that, and let me go ahead and get to it. So the character Michigan J. Frog, he debuted all the way back in 1955. He actually debuted on New Year's Eve. That's kind of interesting there. But his debut cartoon was called One Froggy Evening, and I actually remember this cartoon. I saw it a couple times as a kid, and I did actually think, you know, as a kid, I thought it was kind of funny because basically a guy discovered him, and he was just this frog that he looked like a regular frog. You know, he was just sitting and lazy looking, and you know, no talking, none of that or whatever. And then all of a sudden, he just bust out singing and dancing. So of course this guy was amazed, and I think other than the singing, there's like no dialogue in the cartoon. It's just all through interactions, you know, like gestures and everything. But the guy is obviously trying to get other people to check out the frog, and the frog will not perform while these other people are watching. So of course a lot of people start to think this guy is like crazy or whatever, and it has like this big negative effect on his life. And I can't remember exactly how the whole cartoon turned out. I mean, if you're interested, you can check it out, you know. But yeah, so I saw the cartoon. Like I said, as a kid, I was entertained by it. No big deal. As I got older though, and when they brought this cartoon character back, and I'm saying brought him back because I don't think he had like a series of cartoons himself. I mean, he was kind of that one trick pony type of thing. So they brought him back as the mascot for the WB network, and this was in the mid 90s. And I was kind of like, you know, because I'd already learned some things about history at that point. So found that to be very interesting, that not only did they bring him back, but that they would use this character around their block of shows that starred black people. And yes, I prefer black over African American. If you're curious about why, I mean, that's something I addressed on my smaller channel. I'm not going to get into that right now, but that's just the term I prefer. So yeah, they used this character as a mascot around that block of television, and some people took offense to it. Now, you might be wondering, if you don't know the history, why people would take offense to this frog, and especially him being used to promote black series. I'm going to get into it. You know, I will get into that. So, of course, again, you know that this is a very musical character, and the main song that he's known for singing is Hello My Baby. Now, very quickly, this song, some people think it's just a love song, and I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's basically what it is. But it's also about the invention of the telephone, and how the telephone, of course, a lot of people were very curious about it, very interested in it when it was first invented, as with most new technology, but very few people actually had it. So the song is about a guy that's on the telephone, and he's enamored by this woman that he hasn't actually seen before. Now, how in the world he got, ended up talking to her, I don't know. I mean, I was actually wondering, like, is he like falling in love with an operator, or what's going on here? But for some reason, it's like he hasn't really interacted with this woman outside of the telephone. So it's like this is the way he's trying to woo her and everything, and that he wants to be wooed by her. So I mean, yeah, that's the focus of the song basically, and that's why it's called Hello My Baby. And when you look at this old artwork here, you can see like the telephone pole there in the background and everything, and then on the right hand side you see like the lightning bolts kind of representing, the voices going through the lines and everything. So let's take a look at the actual lyrics of the song. So, and I'm not going to like sing this song, I got too much self-respect. Sorry, I'm not going to do it. So let me just read off the lyrics here quickly. Okay, so it says, hello my baby, hello my honey, hello my ragtime gal, excuse me. Send me a kiss by wire, and notice it says wire, of course, because we're talking about phone here. Baby, my heart's on fire. I tell you, if you refuse me, honey, you'll lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh baby, telephone. Okay, notice their telephone, and tell me I's your own. Now, if you're really thinking about the way that this is written, then obviously it's trying to imitate the way that certain people speak. And let's be real, it's trying to imitate the way that black people speak, or at least spoke during that time period. Okay, and that's absolutely what is going on here. And in fact, let me go and point this out. Instead of my, it keeps saying ma, hello, ma baby. Okay, and then at the end there, especially that last line, this really gives it away. It says, and tell me I's your own instead of I'm your own. Okay, so again, it's trying to represent the way that black people spoke during that time period. And as a matter of fact, the lyrics of this song were eventually changed. I mean, very subtly changed, but they change it to hello, my baby, and then tell me I'm your own. So they did change those things around later on. And that's because I think they realized, yes, it is offensive. It is offensive, to imitate black people in that way. So again, Michigan J. Frog became known for singing this song, and he's not the only one that was known for singing this. Before him, there was an entertainer named Al Jolson that was very known for singing this song. Now, Al Jolson didn't write the song, but he did take a liking to it, and he would perform it. And that's the way it was, with vaudeville performers. A lot of times they would perform songs that were popular. So and there were performers like that, that do that today, so that's nothing unusual. So yeah, Al Jolson was considered to be a vaudeville performer. That means he would travel around and he would perform. And then, of course, as radio became prominent, he'd be on the radio. As television became prominent, he'd be on the television. So he was an entertainer most of his life, from pretty much a young age. We're talking about just past, we're very early 1900s up until about the mid 1950s, in that area. So so he was an entertainer for most of his life, and I'll give the man props. He's talented. He really could sing, so he could really belt things out or whatever. Dancing, if you want to call it that, I don't know. I mean, he did his little thing or whatever, but mainly he was known as a singer. Okay, so yeah, so these are images of Al Jolson, and then here's another image of Al Jolson. And if you've ever seen this image before, then maybe you're like not surprised here. If you've never seen this, then you might be a little shocked, and maybe you should be, because obviously this is Al Jolson in blackface. And this is something that some vaudeville entertainers would do. Some white vaudeville entertainers, they would paint themselves up in blackface, and they would basically imitate black entertainers, and imitate black people, because it wasn't just about music. Sometimes they would do comedy routines talking as if they were black, and just basically making themselves sound as ignorant as possible. And again, these people actually did have talent. They had great timing. They had great singing voices. And I'm sure to people that like that, that didn't mind that racial type of humor, they were entertained by them, obviously because they were successful. But Al Jolson became very well known for blackface and for singing songs like Mammy, which is just hideous to me, but that was like one of his big hits, his ode to his mammy. If you don't know what a mammy is, that's basically like a black woman that would be hired not just as a maid, but basically to raise up the kids and basically to almost run the household, more so even than the wife, but of course not nearly respected, in that way. So yeah, Al Jolson, I can't exactly hate the man. It's not like I knew him, and those type of performers, I can't completely hate them. Really, I'm just not a hateful person in general. But the whole idea of blackface definitely sickens me, and it definitely sickens me that some people still try to get away with that nowadays. And I think there are some ways where we can play around with race, and it can be funny at times. I mean, some people know how to use it satirically, and that's fine. And like with Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr. in blackface, I think that was very satirical and handled pretty well overall. There are some people that just don't handle it well at all. I know there are situations with certain comedians like Sarah Silverman, Ted Danson at one point. I mean, some people have just been really racially insensitive and caught some backlash, and they deserved it because, like I said, some people just don't know how to deal with it, basically. I think in another quick example, the creators of South Park, Matt and Trey, they're very good at satire. They know how to play that properly. Some people just don't, so yeah, the whole blackface thing though, I think people should just stay away from it and anything associated with it. And that's probably why I'm so bothered by Michigan J. Frog, because he's such a take on the vaudeville type of performer, and singing the same song that Al Jolson was known for is just, it really opens my eyes. I mean, it catches my attention, and I'm just like, I just don't feel right about it. That's all there is to it. And I know a lot of people are thinking, he's just he's just a character, he's just a mascot, it's no big deal. Well, let's be real and look at some of the mascots that we still have in this country. Why are they not a big deal? They should be. And of course, some people will say, things like, I remember when there was a big fuss in the news for a while about the possibility of the Washington Redskins changing their name, and a lot of people were like, no, it can't happen, it's tradition, we gotta have that name, this, that, and the other. It's like, no, I mean, it's offensive is offensive. It's like that mascot is no different than somebody wearing blackface. And there are people, even especially in colleges, where they have Native American characters, as mascots, and they dress up like Native Americans and they're jumping around and all this. It's hugely offensive. It really is the same thing as blackface. It should be an issue. It should bother us, not just people of that ethnicity, whatever ethnicity it may be, not just the people in that group. Us as Americans, it should bother us that we have all these holdovers left from pre-civil rights. It's just ridiculous. Even with black servants still on food products like Aunt Jemima, it's ridiculous. And I know some people might be wondering, well, why do you have the fight in Irish? Well, yes, Irish, and it's not just about people of so-called people of color being hated on, because the Irish, when they first came to this country, they really caught it too. Like, there was a lot of hate for the Irish people when they first came to this country, and they did come in floods and great numbers because they were basically escaping famine, because nature had pretty much destroyed potato crops. So because there was such a flood of Irish, I mean, there were actually not just signs that would say like no colors, or not hiring colors or whatever. You would actually see signs as well saying no Irish, so yeah, the Fighting Irish and this whole stereotype of Irish being drunks and all this and that it's not funny. To me, it is really offensive. Some people take that all in joke. And even right here in my home state, South Carolina, we have it's basically a crappy tourist trap, and it's called South of the Border, and their mascot is Pedro, just a very stereotypical Mexican character, which I do find offensive. And there are like signs all along the highway of just Pedro talking with this heavy accent and just silliness, and it's really offensive to me. Like, people should be offended, and I just don't get why some people aren't. It's very racially insensitive, But I know there's some people still saying they look at Michigan J. Frog again and they're just like, I like the design. He's just a cartoon character. Just a cartoon character. That's what a lot of people will say. And yes, he is a Warner Brothers cartoon character. He's a Looney Tunes character. But when you know the history, then you know how offensive these cartoons could get in the past. I mean, look at these images here of Asian characters. Look at the image there of African characters and African American characters or black characters. And Stymie, that character there with Bugs Bunny, was actually in a series of cartoons. So that bothers me, and I know it may not be a big deal to some people. It is to me though. And actually, when I discovered all this about Warner Brothers history, their cartoon department's history with these very racially insensitive cartoons, it just took all the fun out of it for me. Like, I cannot watch Looney Tunes anymore. I can't enjoy it. And even some people might be wondering, why Speedy Gonzales? I mean, come on, let's just be real. Speedy Gonzales is definitely a stereotype. And again, I'm not telling you all what to think, how to feel. I'm just letting you know how I feel. That's what this is all about. That's why I'm off on this tangent right now, just to let you know how I feel about it. So, I mean, what it comes down to is Michigan J. Frog. I think it's a weird choice on Funko's part. Maybe to an extent a smart business move, because they do want to have some obscure characters, especially as Comic-Con exclusives, because to take really popular characters and make them Comic-Con exclusives definitely feels wrong. Like they did that with Qui-Gon Jinn, Star Wars fans, excuse me for that. But huge backlash over that because they took such a popular character and made him in such small numbers. So I can understand them going with obscure characters, and but yet characters that still might be sought out and making them Comic-Con exclusives. But Looney Tunes, they have so many other characters. Why this one? It doesn't sit well with me, especially considering the atmosphere in this country right now and who our president is. And this is you probably have to go way back in history to find a president that is this obviously racist. I mean, I mean, even, George W. Bush wasn't this obvious with it, and I'm not bigging up him in any way, but still, he wasn't this obvious with it. So yeah, it just bothers me. And I mean, the gist of it is, like, I don't want that figure anywhere near me. And people that want it, I hope you get it. I hope you're happy with it, but I don't ever want to run into it, and I definitely wouldn't want somebody to send one my way. As much as I appreciate everything that my supporters have sent to me, if a Michigan J Frog ever popped up here, you would see a video of me absolutely destroying it, because that's pretty much how I feel about it. And it's not hatred. Like, I don't hold hatred in my heart, but at the same time, I don't have to be blind and accept the nonsense either. So that's the way I feel about it. So yeah, if you stuck with me through my rant, I do appreciate it. And as always, I definitely want to hear your thoughts. And when you share your thoughts, be respectful, because I'm going to be respectful of you, what you have to say. Even if you disagree with me, I'm going to be respectful of you as long as you're respectful of me. Now, if any trolls happen to cross along this, of course, they'll just get blocked, because I don't have the time. I'm too mature for that. But, my true supporters, I definitely want to hear how you feel about this. And, yeah, I mean, that's all I really can say. I'm going to move on. I got other videos that I want to work on, much more positive, things. So I'm going to keep it moving, and don't expect me to get into a bunch of rants on my channel. That's not what my channel is going to become about. But this is just something I had to express. So again, if you stuck with me all the way to the end, thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate it. And you all take care. Till next time.